It started with a random glance, just sorting through some old files on our shared laptop in our modest Asheville home. I wasn't looking for trouble, but there it was, glaring at me like a knife twisting silently in my chest. An unsent email draft, buried in the trash folder, caught my eye. It was a confirmation for a couple's retreat at a luxury resort nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, scheduled for next month. My name was nowhere to be found. Instead, it listed my wife Sarah alongside a man named Daniel Harper. Sarah, the woman whose smile could light up every corner of our small town, the local bakery owner I'd fallen in love with 6 years ago, had told me she was going to a baking conference that weekend. We had built a life together, raising our 5-year-old son Liam, surrounded by flower-dusted aprons, Saturday hikes, and simple joys. But that email draft shattered the picture I thought I knew. Curiosity and dread gnawed at me, and I couldn't stop there. Digging through old receipts and chat threads, I found conversations between Sarah and Daniel, her business partner from a recent catering event. The messages were innocent at first glance, but the late-night timestamps and the easy, familiar tone betrayed something deeper. It was clear they had grown close, closer than I had been to her for months. The retreat wasn't a work trip. It was their secret escape, a romantic getaway masked by a professional facade. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I made a decision fueled by a desperate need for the truth. I booked a room at the same resort under a fake name, telling Sarah I had a work trip, and leaving Liam with my sister. Arriving early, I blended into the sea of couples at the check-in desk, trying to steady the storm raging inside me. Then I saw them, Sarah and Daniel laughing together, holding hands as if the world belonged to just the two of them. The sight twisted my stomach into knots. From a balcony overlooking the lodge, I watched them share a candlelit dinner, her head resting on his shoulder, his hand gently brushing her hair. The betrayal stung deeper than I expected. I pulled out my phone and recorded it, desperate for proof beyond the haunting email. Back home, I confronted Sarah with the video and the booking details. She went pale, her face draining of color. "Michael, I didn't know how to tell you," she stammered. The man I thought was just a business partner was more. He had become her confidant, filling an emotional void I hadn't noticed as I buried myself in long hours at the hardware store. She confessed to months of growing apart, blaming my absence and exhaustion for the distance that had crept between us. The words cut deep, but her tears felt raw and genuine. She begged for a chance, not just for us, but for Liam. I moved out, wrestling with a storm of rage and heartbreak. Liam asked me why Mommy was crying, and I had no answer that could make sense to a 5-year-old. The silence at home was deafening. Weeks passed. I threw myself into fixing up old furniture, reconnecting with friends, trying to rebuild pieces of my fractured life. Sarah reached out, not to beg, but to talk about custody arrangements, showing a respect for boundaries I hadn't expected. One evening, I hiked a familiar trail near our home. The mountains stretched endlessly before me, the sky ablaze with orange and purple as the sun dipped behind the Blue Ridge peaks. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying away some of the heaviness I'd been carrying. The retreat booking had exposed Sarah's betrayal, but also forced me to confront my own neglect, the moments I'd missed, the walls we'd both built. I didn't forgive her that day, but I called her. I suggested therapy, not just for Liam, but maybe for us. Standing there, surrounded by nature's quiet strength, I realized something profound. Sometimes, a lie can break you open to find the truth within. The pain carved out space for growth, for healing, for something new. Whether our future would be together or apart, I knew I was ready to face it. With a stronger heart and clearer eyes,